Hi, my name is. Well, that's not important. You can just call me Axaquil, or Ax for short. My therapist told me to start these journals, so after the incident and Dad saved me, I decided to make another one about my past to try and help me regain my memory. I was born into a little town called Fucking. Just like the name, the town was fucking miserable. It was always, do this, you suck at that, why didn't you do better? Now, I'm not gonna lie, I had a pretty wealthy family, the richest in town, in fact. Things weren't as perfect as people saw them to be, though. You might think, wow, she's rich, she gets it all, a perfect family, friends, but you're dead wrong. My family was a piece of work. Dad was always sleeping around, cheating on Mom, and Mom was hitting me, saying, why couldn't I be as pretty and smart as my sister? I don't have a sister. I am an only child. I still don't know what she meant now, even 8 years later. Maybe she met someone that she had another child with, possibly a long-lost sister. I wouldn't put it past her to sleep around since Dad did it. Anyways, that's what family was like in me. I was an only child, depressed with ADHD, abused pretty much all my life. My life was nothing even close to normal. They fucked up my brain and made me believe that that is what every family did. But after a while, I learned that their lies weren't true. And it's all thanks to Toby. But that's further in my story. Back to my life. I was what Dad called going through a phase. I liked death metal, goth fashion, but most importantly, inventing and doing experiments. I loved taking random shit and mixing it, testing it on anything and everything. I would design new clothing all the time, and new weapons too. It was my thing, really. Inventing was just the thing that clicked with me the most. It's probably what made me believe so much in Lucifer and the holy world. I'll be honest, I've tried rituals before, with dead mice even, but nothing has worked. When I wasn't doing that, I was doing school shit. My school life, to be honest, wasn't much better. I was bullied a lot, and I don't mean bullying as in rude names. I mean punching, cutting, burning, name-calling, stealing, rape. You name it, they probably did it to me. And you might think, tell a teacher or a cop. Sorry, but in my town, that doesn't work here. It is the city that hates rich people and everything and anything that are lower class, and what they do is completely okay. The teachers would try their hardest to make me fail just so they could bully me in front of the class. No one cared. I was just the little rich Satanist girl with ADHD that no one took care of or cared about. You want to know something funny? I didn't know there was medication for ADHD until Slendy found me. That was when I was around 16, 2 years ago. I take them now, probably more than I should, just to stop that ringing in my ear and the sounds in my head. Apparently my parents told me and thought it was just something I was doing for attention. Of course, they also thought I mooched off of them and was a slut too, so their input doesn't matter to me anymore. I should mention I have something my therapist used to tell me. It's called memory loss. If I remember right, it means my memories are pretty much erased every now and then. But actually, thanks to Slendy and someone called Virus, I'm starting to get them back. Though there is one memory that never leaves my brain, though I wish it could. It was the night of the prom. It had just ended, and I was walking home when I saw a party happening. Since my parents weren't gonna remember it because of their drunk ass, I decided to go. A few hours and drinks later, I went home. I remember thinking something was fishy because she left before me. Who is she? She would be Rebecca Harper, the most popular girl in school. People practically licked the floor she walked on, and she never left a party early. Little did I know, I would later find out why. I decided to go home since it was getting extremely late. I started to get close, and I could smell something. Smoke. I closed my eyes, and the next thing I knew, I was inside the house. It was on fire. That bitch had burned and was burning down my house and trying to kill us. That fucker would pay. I quickly went upstairs and got all the important things that were mine and left. Of course, I didn't save Mom and Dad. They were already in pain, horrible pain. It felt amazing to see them there, just screaming for help. I just laughed and ran out as quickly as I could to live. I wish I could have stayed a little more to watch them suffer like they did to me. I decided, right then and there, I would kill that bitch, then find a new home. I got everything ready. I put my fishnet cut crop top with my transparent skirt on. I had also grabbed my gas mask that I used for experiments to hide my face. It was a pretty pastel pink. I covered my eyes, my disgusting eyes and fucked up face, with my black and pink hair, and added my most important possession, my hair clip. It wasn't a normal hair clip. No, it was a hair clip with a pentagram on it. It was a bright blood red, and it meant the world to me. It had been a gift from my mom and dad to me when we were actually a family. It reminded me of when we were actually a family, so I thought I would keep it as it was the piece holding my sanity together. Of course, now that everything was gone because of that bitch, the one who tormented me every day, the one who made my life a living hell, Rebecca, tonight she was going to die. I put on my backpack full of all the chemicals and syringes and weapons I made that I could grab from the fire. I started to make my way to her house. She lived in a bad part of town, so I had to kill just a few more people to get to her. No big deal. I just walked for around a mile and finally got to her house. She lived farthest from actual civilization. She lived in what our town called the mayor's house. Her dad was the mayor, but he wasn't really a good one, so he wasn't really there at the house, ever. Though this time, I made sure he was. I was going to make her suffer and everyone else she loved suffer because of her as well. I busted down the door. Surprise, bitches! I pulled out my first chemical and walked into the kitchen. It was a mix of nitroglycerin and phenamine. It was quite explosive, but the phenamine made it so the pain wouldn't be feelable. I walked into the kitchen and there was the mayor's wife. She was standing there completely horrified, holding a knife, and it made me just laugh. She thought that she was going to do something with a tiny little kitchen knife. Please. I told her not to make a noise, and if she did, I would hurt her. She said okay. So I took her neck and I injected it into her. She fell onto the floor in a paralyzed state, and then I slowly made my way into the living room where the mayor was. I took out a new chemical, but this time it was a little different. It was a knife coated with Excel and alcohol. What's Excel? It's a drug that slowly starts to burn whatever it touches. The alcohol just makes it a little more lethal. I learned the only thing that doesn't start to burn is metal. I walked into the living room and he was just sitting there watching TV. Maybe he hadn't heard me come in. If so, this was just gonna be way easier. I took the knife and slit his throat. He looked at me before his skin started burning. It was beautiful. His whole face, in a matter of seconds, was a purplish black, burning like a crisp. His whole face was practically burnt off, and he was screaming in so much pain. It was exciting. It was so beautiful to watch, but I had to finish before I was caught. I went upstairs, and there she was in her bedroom, pressing her bitchy ass hair. She turned to look at me and she asked who I was. Then I just laughed. You really don't remember your play toys, Rebecca? The person you fucked over and killed an entire family? She just stared at me with a horrified face and said no. I grabbed her and told her if she resisted, I would immediately kill her. Of course, being the little wimp she is, she obliged. I took her outside and tied her up. I had spread alcohol around the house while moving slowly to kill everyone, so it was just a matter of me lighting a match to set it all up into flames, like she did with my family. I struck the match and made her drop it. It was awesome. She sat there in agonizing pain, watching as everything she had loved slowly burned to ashes. Eventually, it stopped burning and was about to go out. And before that, I took her by the chair and threw her in. She told me to stop and to help her out, but why would I? She ruined my family. She ruined my life. She was the reason everyone hated me. I knew it. So, I watched for a good 5 minutes as she screamed in pain, asking for someone or anyone to help her. After it was done, I cleaned up my mess, made sure there was no way it could track to me. I closed my eyes, and the next thing I knew, I was in the woods. The woods. The one place where I'd always somehow felt at home. I was running to I don't know where, and suddenly I heard a sound. It was like someone was speaking. I turned around and asked who was there, but I didn't see anything. I continued walking and I heard it again. This time, I saw it. It was a man, about 12 feet tall, with around 8-foot-long arms and legs. He had tentacles emitting from his sides, and they were pitch black like tar. His face was something I had only dreamed of. It was blank, complete white, no eyes, no mouth, no ears, and it talked to me, and it said something that I wish I had heard longer ago. X, come with me. They aren't and were never your true family, but I and we will be your new family. We have a place where you can stay for as long as you'd like, with people just like you. Come, my child. At first, of course, I was hesitant. I mean, who wouldn't be? But after thinking it through, I thought to myself, might as well. Everything I've ever known and loved is gone. And I really don't have any actual family. Never did. But maybe I have a chance to restart the way I want to restart. So I followed him. He led me to what seemed to be some kind of hotel. And he was right. There were others like me there. And after a while, I started calling him Dad. He was the only real dad figure I had ever had, actually. My own father wasn't a dad figure, and Slendy was so much better. That's what everyone called him, at least. Slendy. Apparently his full name was Slenderman. I had never heard of him before, but he had given me a home. And one with people like me. Later on, I met my current family and my friend, Toby. Toby had suffered somewhat the same like me, but less harsh. So, since both of our parents had died, and we had both gone through quite a lot similar, we got along quite well. We became, I would consider, best friends. We do this thing with everyone in the family where we all choose one night to go back to one of our hometowns and let out our anger. Tonight is mine. And I heard a little someone live through the hell. So, tonight we're going to make sure that she doesn't live again.